common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Beware when you see the Equal Rights Amendment on the ballot in New York. It is, quote, consumer fraud, very dangerous, and a lot more meets the eye on this. And joining us is former New York Congressman John Faso. Judge Weinberg.
John, welcome back to the show. Let me ask you this question. Why is it so important that people vote against Proposition 1? What is that going to do if that proposition is passed?
Prop 1 takes away parental rights for health care decisions over their minor children. Prop 1 will create a pathway for biological males to compete on girls' and women's sports teams. And Prop 1 creates new rights for non-citizens and even illegal migrants to our state and city because it will give them a constitutional protection to benefits. And remember, New York City tried to give non-citizens the right to vote. That's going to be up before this highest court in the state in the coming month. But Prop 1 is filled with minefields and Trojan horses. And one last thing, Judge, Prop 1 creates a constitutional right to programs of reverse discrimination. So it says you can't discriminate against someone except if it meets the criteria of Prop 1. So Prop 1, everyone should vote no on Prop 1 and tell all their friends.
Well, the problem is that if you allow this proposition to go through, it gives a license for all the far left progressive agenda to be passed and to allow the courts that have been packed with left-wing judges to vindicate them, to allow that to happen. So you're really talking about the destruction of New York State.
Exactly. The same people in the state legislature that gave us so-called bail reform, which has been a disaster. That's why everything is locked up in a CVS or a Duane Reade behind a plexiglass door. It's the same people that gave us the disastrous rollout, and this is Liz Kruger, state senator from Manhattan, of marijuana laws, which had 2,500 illegal marijuana shops crop up because they screwed up the implementation of that law. The same people that gave us raise the age, which has meant 15-year-olds are running around with handguns with virtually no penalty. And those are the same people that want you to vote yes on Prop 1. That alone should be the reason to vote no on Prop 1.
And it would give, if they could pass something that give state control over local zoning. So therefore, communities would be at risk. John, isn't that correct?
It is just unbelievable what they've packed into this constitutional amendment. I'm really concerned about a minor being able to go into court, and because this proposition creates new rights for gender identity and gender expression, meaning transgender rights. And I'm not in favor of discriminating against someone, but the fact is there shouldn't be the ability of minors to go into court and demand transgender treatments without their parental consent. And yet this amendment opens the door to that very thing.
Well, Congressman, I want to thank you very much. We deeply appreciate this. The important message is that if you vote for Proposition 1, you're talking about the destruction of the state of New York. This is a proposition that has to go down to defeat, correct?
That's right. And everyone should understand, don't go rushing in to the poll booth or with your ballot. Make sure you turn it over and vote no on Proposition 1.
Thank
you,
you.
Congressman.
Thank you,
John
Faso.
Thank you, Congressman. Great.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
They don't call her confiscation Kamala for nothing. Don't take it from us.
And I support a mandatory buyback program.
A mandatory buyback program? That means the government forcing you to turn in your firearms. To what lengths would Kamala go? Well, she doesn't even support the individual right to own a firearm.
I'm prepared to take executive action and put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country.
We get it. Sometimes it's tough to understand what she's talking about. But on the Second Amendment and your rights, confiscation Kamala has been crystal clear. Her gun control agenda comes straight from that petri dish of bad ideas that is California. She can claim to be a gun owner all she wants, but we all know she's the same anti-gun California radical she's always been. Don't be left defenseless. Defeat confiscation Kamala. Vote Trump like your life depends on it, because it does. NRA Political Victory Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NRAPVF.org.